Robert Ledru was considered one of the most distinguished detectives of the 19th century. He had solved dozens of crimes, including exposing a secret society that was preparing a coup in France. But this story is about something else, about the most difficult moral choice the inspector faced, and about the case that changed his entire life. By the age of 35, Robert Ledru had already earned a reputation as one of Europe's finest detectives. His dedication to work was truly phenomenal. When immersed in an investigation, he could go without sleep for days on end, completely devoting himself to the case. Such an exhausting schedule couldn't help but affect his condition. Colleagues often noticed his irritability and nervousness after sleepless nights. In July 1887, Ledru was sent to Le Havre, a picturesque port town on the southwestern coast of France. By that time, the city had been troubled by a series of mysterious murders. 6 sailors had been found dead in the port area. Local law enforcement proved powerless in solving these crimes, which is why the renowned detective Robert Ledru was called in to help. Barely beginning his investigation in Le Havre, the detective received new instructions from his superiors. He was ordered to investigate another murder that had occurred on St. André's beach, just 3 kilometers from his hotel. This order frustrated Ledru. He never left cases unfinished. However, he understood, if management was so urgently changing his assignment, there must be compelling reasons. The victim turned out to be one André Mon, whose body was discovered at night on St. André's beach. At the time, Le Havre was renowned as one of France's most prestigious resort towns. Local authorities, concerned about potential damage to the city's reputation, immediately brought Inspector Ledru into the investigation. However, even for the experienced detective, this case proved extraordinarily complex and puzzling. According to the victim's wife's testimony, they had arrived in Le Havre from Paris for a brief summer vacation. André Mon often suffered from the night's stuffiness and had a habit of going to the beach to breathe in the sea air. A thorough questioning of close relatives revealed neither potential enemies nor heirs who would benefit from Mon's death. The robbery theory also proved unfounded. The victim's personal belongings and wallet remained untouched on the shore. Notably, the deceased's body showed no signs of struggle or any resistance before death. The crime scene suggested a random killing, as if an unknown person had simply appeared on the beach, fired the fatal shot, and disappeared. With no obvious suspects, the investigation focused on analyzing the few pieces of evidence available. The bullet extracted from the body was found to have been fired from a German Luger pistol, which did little to help the investigation. This weapon model was extremely common in France at the time, especially in criminal circles. The only promising piece of evidence remained the presumed killer's footprints discovered in the sand next to the body. An unusual detail was that the footprints in the sand indicated that the killer had been wearing socks, rather than being barefoot or wearing shoes. While local police considered these tracks as useless evidence as the bullet, for Robert Ledru they told almost the entire story of that fatal night. As he carefully studied the prints, the detective suddenly turned pale, and his face contorted in horror. Without saying a word, he left the crime scene and locked himself in his hotel room. After spending a sleepless night there, he headed to Paris in the morning. Upon arrival, he immediately reported to police headquarters and informed his superiors that he had solved the case. Ledru presented a plaster cast of the footprint found on the beach. The distinctive feature of the print was the absence of a big toe on the right foot. In front of those present, Ledru removed his shoe and sock, revealing that his right foot also lacked a big toe, the result of a childhood injury. He explained that on the day he arrived in Le Havre, he had felt strange and gone to bed earlier than usual. After sleeping for an unusually long 12 hours, he woke to find sand in his socks and signs that someone had been rummaging through his luggage. Initially, he didn't think much of it and didn't tell anyone. Later, as the picture of the incident became clearer, he checked his pistol and, as he suspected, found one bullet missing. Despite his superior's skepticism, Ledru insisted on conducting an investigative experiment. He unloaded his pistol and placed it on his bedside table. That night, 2 guards were stationed outside his room, ready to witness the confirmation of the detective's theory. Suddenly, Robert Ledru's door burst open, and his pistol appeared, firing 2 blank shots in the guard's direction. As it was later discovered, Ledru suffered from somnambulism, a condition where a person performs actions while in a state of sleep. In most cases, these are harmless actions like walking or cleaning, but sometimes they can pose serious danger, which is exactly what happened with Robert Ledru. He was tormented by nightmares in which he committed murders. Doctors strongly recommended that he rest, but he ignored their advice. As a result, while in Le Havre in an unconscious state, he shot Andrémon. Soon, the trial took place. At the trial, the defense attorney proved that Ledru was only dangerous at night. While awake, he was completely normal. The detective was sentenced to life imprisonment, but given his distinguished service, he was allowed to remain free during the day when he was awake. However, every evening he had to return to prison. And thus the last criminal caught by Robert Ledru was himself. He lived the rest of his life this way, free during the day and in prison at night. He died in 1939 at the age of 77. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and support the channel by subscribing. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to never miss my next video. Thanks for watching.